Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, it's everything you need to know about preparing for an on-site job. That's right, we're going to go over the nuts and bolts of one of those things that I think most carvers will take advantage of. They just load up their gear, jump in the truck, and head on out. In this episode, we go over a few things that are going to help you figure out what you need to do on your next on-site job. Well, I guess it's time to act like we know what we're doing. My name is Jeff Mohr, I'm the Northwoods Carver, and thanks for seeing what I saw. Welcome back everybody. This is a video, it's going to be about on-site job preparation. And by that I mean, what do I need? What do I got to do? What do I have to bring? And also, we're going to cover something else too. And that is like, what do you do before you go ahead and pack a trailer and head out to parts unknown to do a whatever wild thing out of wood with all of your cool saws? Well, I just finished a big on-site project. I didn't film it, I just did it. I was just finishing it up. Anyways, it was a tough piece. It was a big, imposing oak, and it wasn't going to be like some kind of giant masterpiece. It was, this lady's really nice, she just wanted a few things, but it was a lot of work. I mean, debarking it, texturing the whole tree, you know, with the scaffolding. I'm old, I'm fat, and I'm out of shape, so that kind of sucked. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do anymore, but that's besides the point. What I'm going to do for you right now is show you kind of, well, the idea of the video is to make you aware of some of the things you might need to look at before you jump in your truck and head out to a job site. You know, before you do any of that stuff, you got to make sure your tools are going to be good to go, because when you get there, you could be out in the middle of nowhere and you might not have a dealership nearby, so you just make sure your stuff is in order, and it helps you with the confidence level. So when you get there, you're not just grabbing the same old tools out and then they break and then you're like, okay. So my lovely assistant Pam is standing by. She's been in the rears the whole time. She's been back there. Pam, can you please hand me my little 194, please? And I will do my dangest to inform the viewing audience, all two of them, one in Sweden and one in Canada, how to, or what I look for. It's just basic saw maintenance, right? But I got a ton of saws, and a lot of times I'll forget which ones need it because they all kind of look the same. And I'll just throw them in the box and we head out. But there's when I haven't carved in a long time, I've had some heart issues and cardiac rehab and working on the barn, and I just haven't carved. So I honestly don't know what's good or bad, or what needs attention and what doesn't need attention. And maybe you're one of those guys out there that's got a bunch of tools, and some of them sit around for a while, and you think, does that need a bar? Does that need a chain? Why is that one apart on my workbench back there? I don't know why. I've forgotten. That was a lot of sleeps ago. And oh, Pam moved. Oh no, it's still sitting there. I have no idea why that thing's all apart. So here's a story for you. About a week ago, I came back from doing something. What was I doing? I don't even remember what I was doing. Came back in, I'm like, well, one of my 120s stopped oiling. And when that happened, I was like, oh crap, that's my lead saw. And I figured, well, I'll just take it over to Big Nose Power Sports and have those fellas take a look at it and maybe put a new oil pump in it. Not sure exactly what it was. I tried what I know how to do with it, and nothing worked. Then I found another 120. I did. I found another 120, And I'm like, what's this from? Like, why is this one so dirty? Like, it's been hanging out on a shelf. Well, it was hanging out on a shelf, and it ran beautifully, but again, no oil. So I was like, okay, that might be why I put it on the shelf in the first place. So then I found a 140 that was making a horrible sound when you ran it, and like a high pitch. It was weird. And then another one that seemed kind of locked up. I found 4 in my shop. And so I'm not proud, people. I'm not proud of that. I guess I'm old and I forget stuff. But here's the deal. I brought them all in, and I said, fellas, figure this out for me, because I don't know how much, I don't know how much longer these things are going to last me. If they're, he said probably 2 of them are junk. The other 2 are, they're just going to put oilers in, or oil pump, or a filter. It could be a clogged filter. I don't know. They're going to fix it. Anyways, so I came back home with a brand new 60C, I believe it's what it's called, and
it's so dirty already. What did you do?
I already used it. So here it is. So I was never gonna intentionally buy a 60C, which this is sort of the little brother to the 70C, which would be, this would make this new version like a 120. This is the old, well, it was a 120, now they call this 60C. And it has a variable speed trigger. And it's got some gumption because it's got this itty bitty bar on it. And speaking of itty bitty bars, I've got to go over every teeny weeny itty bitty bar that I own before I go to this next job. This next job, me and a friend of mine, who's a student as well, Bill Panziora, maybe you've heard of Classy Bill, Dollar Bill, I don't know what do we call him? Dollar Bill?
$100 bill.
$100 bill. $100 bill, Classy Bill, whatever you want to call him. He's going to be here this afternoon. He's going to crash here at the dojo. And then tomorrow morning, we're heading out to the Milwaukee State Fairgrounds. And we are going to carve a piece on the fairgrounds, an existing tree. They called me and asked me if I'd do it. I didn't want to. But so I threw out some stipulations, and they met all of my requirements. And the rest is history. So me and Bill and I will be heading down to Milwaukee first thing in the morning. It's like a 2-hour drive. And we are going to set up down there, and it's an ash tree. The last one I did was an oak, and it kind of beat up my little equipment, so I'm going to go through everything. And hopefully, if you watch, you might learn something, or you might go, why is that guy doing that? I don't know. Maybe I'm just anal that way. I don't know. But this is what's first. So the first thing I want to talk about is checking out the tips of these little bars. So I don't know if you can see, where is it? If you look down the edge to the edge here, you're gonna see sometimes if it wears good or the wear is bad, it'll get like a lip, and you'll be able to see it glistening in the light. This one doesn't appear to have it. You can almost see a little something right there, but I don't know what that is. But I'm gonna take this thing off, and I'm gonna dress it for giggles, because we're gonna be carving ash and we're gonna be doing a lot of detail. So, oh my God, my glasses are dirty. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna be doing a lot of detail. Wow. And I want my stuff to be resistant as possible to failure, unlike myself. Also, on the battery saws, the bigger battery saws, the 220, the 200, and the 160, if you can, well, not if you can, you must pull the orange cover off and blow those out periodically. The more the merrier. Because I've had them in the past where they were completely filled to the brim with sawdust, and that will fry your saw. So keep that in mind, make sure you do that. It's not very difficult. I think I've done videos on it before. Make sure you do that. I have not used mine in quite a spell, actually. I just basically use those in the winter. So there's something that I haven't really thought about much because it hasn't been winter in a while. So I basically have a bunch of saws that are just sitting around for more than half the year that I never use until winter, and then I start carving indoors in here actually. So right now it's really nice in here. I got the heater going. It's beautiful. So also, on a other note, if you come for a class in the winter, we still have this nice warm shop to work out of with all these cool saws. Anyway, going back to the gas saws, this one here's this is a 194C, and this one I will do a complete clean out, clean the filter, blow everything off, make sure the bar's dressed. I'm going to troubleshoot all that stuff and make sure the chains aren't kinked up. That's the other thing, if you got a kinked up chain and you're going to go mess around with some hardwoods, it's twice as bad. I mean, not that it's not going to be bad on pine, but on ash that's been dead for a while. Why do I even do this stuff? Okay, yeah, so I'm going to dress my 194, like I said, I'm going to go through it, clean it all up, blow it all out, and just make sure everything's good there. I'm going to get me some fresh fuel, some fresh 2-stroke mix, make sure I got plenty of bar oil. I've had it in the past where I was on a job like an idiot, and I had a gallon of bar oil. That was plenty for what I was going to do. And I always make a point, because of that one instance where I was up on a scaffolding or something, and I had, I usually stand on the scaffolding, and then I'll have like a board somewhere right around here, and I'll put my saws up there, and then gas, oil, chain, wrench, or chainsaw tool, and then have maybe a file or whatever. I remember one day I just kind of basically didn't put the cap back on. I went and filled a couple saws I had, just sat the thing down, tightened everything up, and inadvertently knocked the gallon jug over, and it emptied. And I was just getting started. I was pretty high up to the top, and I was quite a ways away from anywhere where I could buy some bar oil. So, and any little bit that was left in there had a bunch of sawdust in it. So I always, from now on, from this point forward, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, that lid is going back on that gallon jug, because I always forgot to do that until that one point where I dumped the whole thing out and I was without oil. So make sure you have plenty of oil and put the cap back on it no matter what. Also, if you can bring yourself, when you go on these on-site jobs, bring an air compressor. I know there's a lot of professionals out there that go, duh. Well, there's a lot of people out there that don't have one. I suggest buying one, even if it's just a little nothing. Just something to blow off around your cap or whatever. That helps. Or, if you got to clean the bar, or blow the filters out, or even just blowing off the carving when you're done so you can seal. That's a good tip right there. So Another thing I like to do is carry, like this is a 70C, this is brand new pretty much. I think this is the 8-inch Samurai Legend. Then I have, so this is a 70C with an 8-inch Samurai Legend. I have a 60C with the 6-inch Samurai Legend. All these will get the same treatment. I'm gonna blow them all out, dress up the bars, whether I think they need it or not. I'm just gonna put a little polish on them. And also we have the 12-inch version of the same bar and saw combo. All right, so it's a Samurai Legend, a 6, a 9, and a 12, I believe. So I got to do all the same stuff to all the saws, and pretty much, you know, make sure they're all, it's a good word, polished to an inch of their lives. All right. Okay, here's another tip for you guys. Some people run into problem on the job site because either they didn't do their diligence before they left or whatever, or there just might be some damage, something damaged it, the bar, something damaged the bar, whether it be a kink chain or whatever. And at some point during this job, especially working on hardwood, you might see some issues happening to your bar. So what I like to do is just carry along my impact, or not my impact, but my drill. And this is like a Scotch-Brite head. And I'll sand it down. Just go around the bar, sand it down. Take out the nicks and the crap, knock it down, clean up the edges, and then polish it with this like Scotch-Brite. As you can see, I've done a bunch of them. And this is gonna come with me, even though I'll have all my stuff polished. I'm gonna take it with, because maybe Bill's stuff needs polishing. Okay, also you wanna check, well, see, I'm old school, so I use a chisel and a mallet for eyes, going around noses, you know, that kind of thing. It's important to me to make sure that I have these tools with me, because I will freak out. I've had this mallet, I've customized it, put a little extra weight in the end. I've had this thing for probably 30 years, maybe a little bit longer, probably 30 years. And you know, I've had chisels, these old chisels, forever. And basically I just set them on my, I'll set up my wet wheel, and I will, you know, get these all sharpened, ready to go, because we're dealing with ash. And sharp chisels are a must no matter what. But when you go to those harder woods, you'll literally break these things if you don't know what you're doing, and if they're dull. Okay, so here's another thing we need. I'll bring a backup for my saw, my bars. If I got some backups, I'll just bring them. This is a brand new Samurai Legend, and the reason why they make them in different lengths, well, you know, for years I didn't know why they did that. I guess I never thought about it. I'm like, oh, cool, a 12-inch one. I just went out and bought the 12-inch one. So what it does is it really keeps you, like, so on a 6-inch. With a 6-inch bar, you got a log that kind of, the circumference goes around. A lot of times, you can do no problem coming this way, but as you're trying to come around the back side of the tree or the log, as you flip the saw around and you start coming this way, you're going to bump the body of the saw into the tree before the bar even reaches it. That's when I grab for a little bit longer bar, and then even a little bit longer bar after that. But the key here is with, a lot of people don't understand this or don't recognize this fact. On these little saws, they're not powerful. You know, they're not powerful with a 12-inch bar with a roller tip, or even with a dime tip. They're not that powerful, right? So if you can keep all the action close to the saw body, that will give you the most torque and the most performance, and it just works a lot better. And they do feel powerful when you put these little bars on there. That's why I only use these on my little battery saws. Now the 160s, the 200s, and the 220s, even the 300s, you can run the standard like Samura. That's all I run is Samura. If you have cannons, I mean, those will run, I run everything 43 gauge, but the bigger ones will run 50 gauge relatively with no problem, but I still run 43 on all those big ones, just so you know. Because I'm slow and they're fast. Okay, and another thing, I use a rigid, you can use whatever brand. This is a cordless, rigid planer. It's a hand planer. And, you know, you got your adjustments. So when I'm gonna add, if I'm gonna add something to anything, I always like to try to make it as flat as possible. And one of these, in the right circumstances, is so handy to have because you can just lay it across there and, you know, you got a branch and you just cut it off with your saw and you think, oh, that's good enough. Well, guess what? When you add that to the tree that you want to, you know, join it to, you'll see gaps and all that stuff. Some people don't care, they'll just lag them on. I'm not that I haven't done that, or I wouldn't do that if it was really whatever, for whatever reason. But I like to get them flat. So I'll throw the branch with a piece in a draw horse, which I'm bringing, and I will make it as flat as possible. Take a saw block or piece of wood with sandpaper and just make sure it's nice and flat. Do the same thing to the thing that I'm going to join it to. Then I bring some Spax screws. They're kind of longer ones, T30 bits. And with some Gorilla Glue, she's golden. All right, the other thing, Makita, I just call them soft sanders, but they're like a drill type sander. I'm sure a lot of people out there have them. I found this one, well, I don't know, I think I was at Home Depot. And so what I did was I met years ago at the Butler Invitational. I was talking to Chris Foltz, and he had one of these things, and it's pretty sweet. It's like really squishy, you know. And you can put different grits on it. Just pulls off, but it's wonderful. And one of the benefits to these is it will sand wet wood or damp wood. It's not like a grinder that will just burn it, you know. Check one of these out. I believe you can get these at Home Depot. You can get them online. I don't even know what the hell it's called. The Makita GV5010. These are great. And then the Vector Tools is where you can get these guys. I just order a bunch of them online. That's the soft orange pad, and then there's another pad that sticks to that one that you can also get. Yeah, so this is the package you get. This is also squishy, and then that goes on that other squishy thing, and then you're double squishy. Okay, so I have a regular grinder as well. This is a Makita, and check this out. It's got the holes in it. You can get this online as well. I think this is like a body shop type thing. I think you can get them on, maybe they got them at Elegant Ice. I don't know. But anyway, you just take this, and this thing will pop off. So that's what the thing looks like. And you just buy these separate. You can get them in different grits. And then what you do is you simply put this down, put it down on there, and you turn it. Click, and it clicks it right in. And when this thing's spinning, you can see right through it. I got mine. This is Avos. It's the through system by Norton. Norzon Blue Fire Speed Change Discs. Now, I'm not sponsored by these guys, but no, I there you go. I got 1 or 2 in there yet. And then, of course, this little beaut. I think a lot of carvers have them. Some carvers don't. But I rely on this tool almost as much as my saws when I get down to the bottom of the, the detail part, to the very end. But I've had this for probably 15 years. I got another one too, probably just as long. As you can see, been around so long, none of the stuff is on there anymore. And you can, when you go online, you can buy, like when these bearings take a crap or whatever up here, you can just buy this little separate deal, and I think I got one, or did I use it? I think I used it. Anyway, I have different grits, and I have different widths. So this one is the 1/2 inch, I believe, and then there's a 3/8. And I'll use both for different things. The other thing too is I will save these bands. So I'll save these bands for these things. So if I have any metal prod, say I want to do some customizing on my chain or whatever it is, I'll take the old crappy ones, or if I'm on a job site and I need to cut some metal, maybe I run into a screw while I'm finishing. This thing comes in handy for a lot of different things, but I put textures and I manipulate the light and the shadow with this tool. It's beautiful. This thing here will also turn. So if you're working on, depending on how you want to sit there and manipulate this thing, it's awesome. I just leave mine like that most of the time. All right. Okay, so the other thing that we have that I like is homemade flap sanders. This is the homemade flap sanders. As you can see, it's just basically a nut and a washer and like a carriage bolt, and you just cut we'll just go out and buy these guys. This guy right here, I think this is a 36 grit, but normally I go like 50. We'll cut these up, poke a hole, drill a hole through the centers, and then we just sandwich them together and into a star shape. As you can see, they're just kind of like that. I should make a video on how to make one of these, but it's kind of self-explanatory. Just get the parts, and some people like them real thick. I like mine to start off with kind of long, and that's probably, this one started off about that long. But these things are awesome, especially the rough grit when you're working on on-site jobs and you just want to clean things up, and this is the way to go. I have a series of these little guys. So this right here is a Makita. Oh boy, which one is this? This is the lesser of them. It's a smaller one with a smaller shank. But this little bit right here, this is really nice for doing faces and cleaning things up. Or I like to have little texture and everything, so these things really come in handy. So I have this. I also use this one. This one's seen its better days. This is a little bit bigger unit. This is a variable speed Makita. This one is just an on-off. This is the cheaper version, but it's a nice little unit. There you go. And this one, as you can see, I've had this probably since 2010. No, 2008, 2006, somewhere. All right, then we have the little fella, and I like these little. They're just like a little ball tip. I don't know where. And I'll just use those in the eyes or whatever. And then we have a big one that's everyone asks me where I got it, and even though I can tell you, where I bought it, I don't know if they have them. So here is the third one I have. This has got the big head. This one here is so nice for sculpture. When you can actually, sculpt with this one. It also leaves a nice fine line in there if you want to use it for detail or whatever. But this one's more powerful, and it's got the thicker shank. You can buy these. I think you can get them on Elegant Ice. You can get them. You might be able to get them from Bob King as a package. I don't know if you can or not. I think Elegant Ice you can. And then we have this cool thing. So this was a gift. This little toilet brush was a gift from Brandon Kroon. He gave this to me. I said, oh, that's cool. And he goes, here, take it. He didn't want to bring it home. So I put it on one of these here spinny things. So when you put it on your drill, you can hold on to it. I mean, it does a good job. It just lifts off the light powder, the light burn, and torch something. It's not like an Osborne brush where it's gonna clean it and wipe it out. This is just gonna knock off the dust and crap, the carbon in the fine places that you can't really reach with the other tools. So it's good. And you don't have to do it by hand. And then we have an assortment of other things that you can put on the end of that thing. So basically, I feel them, some of these are too soft. Like this one's pretty good. It's pretty stout. Wish they had even a stouter one yet, but the other ones are like silk. I don't know what they're gonna do. But this one's pretty rough. So we'll take that with us on our trip. So when it comes to the soft sander, this is really dusty. This is by Vector Tools. This is that soft sander pad. It just screws into the Makita. And it's got a hook and loop on one side, and it's kind of squishy. And then you put that other black pad. So this is a Vector Tools 5 and by 5/16 inch, 24 thread, free speed, 10,000 RPM, thickness 16 millimeter. And this is a Vector Tools 5-inch. This will go on the Makita drill type sander. And then this guy is what goes on top of this, like so. So this will be on the machine. It's got your hook and loop. This is also a hook and loop. And you just take this. This is the fuzzy side. This is the rough side. Sticks right on there. And that sucker's not going anywhere. And then this is hook and loop. So you can just take all your sandpapers and you're good to go. These things are fantastic. Oh, don't forget your water bottle for spraying the wood if it's kind of dry. You're going to be using Gorilla Glue. That's good too. Some sort of oil. Some people use canola oil. I use corn oil. And dressing of the bars. I've made a video on that, which I will put somewhere. I'll just put an image of the video, what to look for. It's how to dress your bars, how I dress my bars. And just keep an eye out for that. And then we have the big stuff, like my big saws. Depending on what we're doing, I might need my 500i with the bigger bar. I might bring my 461. I might, there's a lot of different saws that I have. But for my major, the blocking stuff, I'm only gonna use probably my 261, my 362, my 461, and then from there I just go right from there to my 241 and my 194s. There's really nothing in between those. And the bigger saws all have roller tip stock bars on them. And that's it. I mean, I think I even have a couple of battery saws with stock bars. Even my 194s, I have two of them. One has a 14, one has a 16 inch roller tip, 43 gauge. So those things slip through the wood really nice. You keep them sharp. I mean, they're not heavy. For me, at the end of the day, I don't want to feel like I can't go to work the following day. So that's why I use lighter stuff. as much as I can. But anyway, make sure you got air in your tires, folks. Check your air.
Make sure you have your
Yeah, when you leave the house and you have a compressor on board, just make sure that compressor's full, because it might come in a pinch if you have to put a little air in it. So I have an inverter that I take on all my job sites. A lot of times the power source is too far away, so I'll bring an inverter just to run, you know, what I gotta run. I don't work late at night, so it's not like I need lights unless I'm cleaning up or something, then I'll need lights, but for the most part, I'll just come back in the morning. And but you just need something that's gonna run, you know, your sander, maybe 2 sanders or whatever, your phone charger, your whatever. I bring mine's a 4500, a Snapper 4500. I'll take that to like the US Open, and I'll plug in and I'll start it up, and it runs super quiet, and I can, like 3 or 4 people can run stuff off of that. It's pretty powerful. Has a camper output on it, you know, for, anyways, if I can think of anything else, I'll put it on video. But for now, yeah, that's about it. I remembered something else. Okay, so on the bottom of my scaffolding, I have some for indoor and some for outdoor. I mean, obviously scaffolding is going to be used anywhere, but I have wheels on the bottom of my scaffolding for inside the barn. It's really nice because I can just easily roll, you know, as much scaffolding as I want. And then for the outside, I have the extenders with the spinning, you know, lift, so that if you're on terrain, you can get about 2 feet of adjustment. So like if you're on a hillside or something like that, you can jack up this side a couple feet. It's got, you know, I don't know, instead of just using bricks or blocks or something, those things come in real handy. I don't know, I think they're like 40 or 50 bucks a piece from what I remember back in the 20s when I bought those things. But I just use, I think I got 6 sets of scaffold, and I just kind of take whatever I need. A lot of people though, when they set their scaffolding up, they'll have 4 sections, and then they'll just make a square, and that's great. But I've noticed that with the smaller trees, you can get away with 3 sections. And if it's really narrow, you just need 1 section, right? Because one thing people forget when they're setting up scaffolding, myself included, if I hadn't done it in a while, I will set the boards up too close to the tree. And you don't even realize how close they are until you get up on the scaffolding and you're just like, here's a tree. And you're just like, I don't have room for the saw right here. You know, I need to back up a couple feet. You know, I want to have at least, you know, 20, 24 inches between me and the tree. And if I'm using a big saw, I might want more. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, I use a triangle. Like I'll set up a set of scaffold here, here, and here, and I'll just angle them. And I'll just run the boards. Like if here's the tree, I'll run boards in a triangle like so. And then if I need to, I'll put a spanner in there. That way I don't have to drag along so much scaffolding. But anyway, keep that in mind next time you go out. And okay, so that's just a few things that I like to go over. I'm sure my wife has a list of like markers and pencils and, you know, all the stuff you need for your hotel stay. If you're gonna stay in a hotel, make sure you got all that crap. Make sure you write it down and just keep a list somewhere. My wife, don't you have a list somewhere that has all the crap on it on your phone? It's better to have a little more than you need than not enough. Anyway, hopefully this kind of does you well moving into the future. If you're gonna start doing on-site jobs, you know, I was thinking about doing a video on how to set up scaffolding for myself, how I do it. And if the reason why I do it the way I do it is because I don't like heights. Okay, I don't like heights. just assume not even deal with heights at this point in my life. And the other thing is, scaffolding's heavy, and so are the boards that go with it. And hopefully this finds you well, and hopefully it makes you prepare a little better for future endeavors. I'm sure I will think of something else the second I turn this thing off. Until then, don't forget to like and subscribe, smash the notification bell, and I will see you on the next one.